One of the things I loved about Spider-Man No Way Home was that they were actual supporting characters.
Yes, exactly.
Versus just fun cameos. That's why I'm like, it's hard to believe a lot of this, but a lot of this is just fun to speculate on.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm rooting for Terrence Howard to show up as Iron Man.
What's happening there, Reject Nation? Greg and John here today. No, this is not a re-upload if you caught our video from a couple weeks ago. This is a reshoot. There was a copyright issue with the last video, and rather than just keeping that video up that took a few hours to put together, we were like, just screw it, let's just reshoot it. You know, you can't do that with a reaction because it's a reaction. But I was like, no, we have the power to reshoot this and avoid that copyright issue now.
Most importantly.
And if you did happen to catch the last one, stick around, because we're going to add a little bit more to this one as opposed to that other one, and we're going to make it even better than that one. It's going to be even more efficient than that last one. And what are we talking about today, guys? Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. Cameos that have been rumored, speculated upon, and just cameos in general that we personally want to see ourselves. And you know what, guys? Let's just dive right into it, you beautiful bastards. So the first thing I want to talk about is something that I think has been rumored ever since actually the announcement of Disney Plus's Secret Invasion show, because I led a lot of people to thinking, oh my god, does this mean Secret Wars is on the brink of actually happening? And now with Spider-Man No Way Home out, which really solidified the multiverse being a very real thing, along with the Loki series, a lot of people have been really hoping for Secret Wars, which, if you guys don't know what that comic is, it's basically just a big collision of all kinds of Marvel glory in one from the multiverse. And with that, people have been really speculating about the Illuminati possibly showing up here in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Now, if you guys don't know who the Illuminati are, they're a very important group in the Marvel Comics, comprised of different leaders from several different groups to protect Earth. They usually consist of Namor, Black Bolt, Iron Man, or Reed Richards, and Doctor Strange. And so the hope that some people have been having is that if the Illuminati are featured in this movie, that they could perhaps be like a multiverse gathering, you know? So instead of being one dedicated to protect Earth, that they would protect the multiverse. And if you've seen WandaVision, it seems likely, based off that post-credit scene with Wanda and the Darkhold, that she might end up being not an ally to Doctor Strange, as he hopes in the trailer, but perhaps an actual villain, which I think would be cool. Really see Wanda Maximoff unleash that Scarlet Witch. So with that in mind, a cameo or maybe a supporting character that has been rumored to be in this since the days of WandaVision. Hell, even when WandaVision came out, Paul Bettany was saying there's a special cameo that's going to appear, and then we all found out Paul Bettany was just trolling. I was heavily theorizing, and I'm still sticking to this theory, but now just applying it to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, that it's actually going to be Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I think Professor X could be in here. It could be a new Professor X. Maybe it could be James McAvoy. We're hearing this movie could possibly be really inspired from the House of M, which dealt with similar plot points that we've seen set up from WandaVision. Wanda wanting to maintain having her children, creating a new universe in that comics where her children can exist. A lot of timelines are being rewritten and such, but the main person they use to help keep her in check, or their hope to keep her in check is Professor Xavier. So I feel like introducing Professor X, especially now that the Fox merger is complete, I think this would be a great movie to introduce him in.
Yeah, and I mean, if the potential of the Illuminati also holds true, I mean, especially with Cerebro, I could definitely imagine him piercing through the multiversal void and maybe bringing that whole team together, you know?
And if he isn't here, a hope of mine would be that he has the levitating yellow chair. Make it more comics accurate. That would be my main hope. And of course, you know, with this being Multiverse of Madness, one of the first things that I heard fans like really hope for right when this movie was announced was getting Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine to make a cameo. Now, generally, I've been on the side of, he said goodbye to that character. We don't really need him to be in here, and I don't want them to rewrite anything, but it's Hugh Jackman, you know, and as much as I want there to be a new Wolverine for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, obviously they will eventually do that. Hugh Jackman has been on record many times saying how he's wanted to collab with the Avengers, have his Wolverine be included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So just to give him that extra little cherry of acknowledgement, if they do throw him in here, I'd actually be satisfied. I've gone back on that. And so I don't actually think he'll be in here, but I would like him to be. I'll say that.
Yeah, when I think of all the places for him to pop up, this would be a prime place for him to make an appearance in the MCU ever everyone cheers, and then we can move on.
Yeah, exactly. And then another one part of the X-Men list, there's two more. One is just a wish that I really have, which would be Ian McKellen specifically.
Yeah.
You know, like Michael Fassbender would be cool, but I would root for Ian McKellen to show up as Magneto here. Because, you know, WandaVision had a lot of fun with bringing us Evan Peters as Ralph Boner, but the whole point of the fun was that he's playing Quicksilver. That's at least what we were thinking he was doing in that movie. Yeah. Quicksilver in the Fox universe, his dad is Magneto, which lines up with the comics of House of M. So if there was like a variant of Wanda that you do see, or she's hopping through another universe where like her family, her parents are alive, but her parents are not who they are in the MCU, it would actually be like her dad is Magneto. That would be a great way to bring back Ian McKellen for like one last buy, because he didn't really get to have that.
True, and I mean, you know, as great as Michael Fassbender is, I think if they were to do that, Ian McKellen has that paternal presence to him.
True, yeah, absolutely. And then with like what we were just talking about, Quicksilver, as we saw in WandaVision, she was really mourning the loss of her brother Pietro. As much as she's looking for like her own children as set up by the events of WandaVision, maybe she can hop through the multiverse looking for Quicksilver to exist.
And then we'll get a Ralph Boner joke.
Yeah,
acknowledging fan outrage.
They're all just Ralph Boners, yeah. I'm sure by this point too, you guys have heard this rumor. It's been going on for years, I think. And the actor himself has even commented on it, saying he's heard of the rumors regarding him and how he hasn't gotten a call from Marvel.
And he's not the werewolf either.
He's not the werewolf either. But he did say he would love to do it. And, you know, the big rumor is about John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic popping up in this movie. These rumors are just as strong as they were when people thought he was going to pop up in WandaVision.
Yes.
And didn't.
We didn't learn our lesson.
Yeah. Obviously, the Fantastic Four is already announced. John Watts is working hard on that film right now. And maybe they already have a cast assembled. Like, if we did get a Mr. Fantastic or Reed Richards in this film, maybe it could be John Krasinski, which would be cool. Like, oh, this is our introduction of the new Mr. Fantastic. But, you know, after Spider-Man No Way Home, which did have that nostalgia blend, and if they are doing that thing where, hey, now that we have the Fox universe, we're lining all these multiverses, it's called Multiverse of Madness. I would want it to be... how do you say his name?
Ioan Gruffudd.
Gosh, he really should spell it differently.
That Welsh screwing everybody up.
The original guy to play Mr. Fantastic from the Tim Story films. Personally, I know everyone's really opting for John Krasinski. We don't even know if Mr. Fantastic will be in here, but if any of these rumors did happen to come true, I would love it to be Ioan Gruffudd.
I think it would be nice to validate that, and I think, too, it would be less distracting. Like, if you brought in Krasinski, I feel like that's a post-credit scene move.
And then this is one that I think fans have been just demanding everywhere online. I haven't even seen a real rumor about it. It's really just been a major demand that I think a lot of fans have been petitioning for, which I personally, after hearing it, went, that would be the shit. Chris Evans as the Human Torch. As you guys,
everywhere.
Yeah, as you guys know, Chris Evans was the Human Torch in the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies. And I think that would just lend so much more credence to the whole variant identity thing that they've been doing within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it would be such a cool way for Chris Evans to return to the MCU without returning to the MCU.
And to create humor without making a cheap joke out of it.
Yes.
You could totally have Doctor Strange be like, wait a minute, why do I recognize you? Why do you look like Steve Rogers?
Yeah, that would be really fun. I mean, I personally would love to see that. I mean, would you guys want to see that? Please, that'd be awesome. Another one that I have written down here is Sue Storm, which makes sense, you know, considering that we're talking about the Fantastic Four. If you had Mr. Fantastic in here, his relationship associated with Sue Storm.
At least have Sue Storm, if nobody else. Yeah,
it could be Jessica Alba, which would be neat. There's been a lot more support for her over the years. That's the way it goes. You know,
Justice for Jessica.
Justice for Jessica. Like, acknowledge the greatness of Jessica Alba.
Film performance.
It would be cool to see Sue Storm pop up in here, because I think as much as those films weren't exactly loved, they were important to a certain extent. And sticking with the whole X-Men characters on this roster right now, when I first heard, you know, like fans asking for this, I was like, I don't know about that, but I guess I could see it. He is in the MCU now officially. Kevin Feige has talked directly. They are going to be doing the follow-up to this film, and it will be R-rated. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. We are doing Multiverse of Madness. I've always said that if we are going to connect the universes, I kind of feel like Deadpool would be one of the best gateways to doing that.
He's the leader of the Illuminati.
Yeah,
for real.
Doctor Strange just shows up and it's just Deadpool.
Yeah, just busting his balls the whole time.
Well, I do think that Deadpool, because of his meta nature, can make the commentary on all this to make the connective threads even better.
Yeah.
You know, because at this point, with all there's so many rumored cameos that I'm like, man, most of these cannot be real, if any are.
Yeah. They have to be like blink and you'll miss it flashes or something. They won't be like characters.
But when you're talking about Deadpool, I could see a possibility of Deadpool actually showing up in here.
Well, yeah, and think of how fun it would be to see that character under Sam Raimi's direction too, because you could get some real Army of Darkness kind of zany vibes out of that.
And then sticking within this Fox universe, one that I've seen a lot of fans asking for, especially after Charlie Cox appeared in Spider-Man No Way Home. Spoiler alert, sorry about that. Ben Affleck as Daredevil. And I think it's due to the fact that the Daredevil director's cut has gotten a lot of praise, even for people who don't like that movie. People have been like, but Ben Affleck's actually good in that film. He's had some negative association with his portrayal as Daredevil, so this could just be a fun thing to do for him. Same time, I don't believe he'll show up in here. I really feel like this guy just wants to step away from all this.
I almost feel like it would take like a really juicy role for him to actually take on in like a decade for him to come into a place like the MCU.
And then hearing about speculation and rumors with variants of MCU characters. Now this list is forever. All right. Like
you can literally extrapolate all characters.
Like, the amount of people I see on social media just talking about this. I hear this, maybe this, or I would love to see this. Like the list just goes on and on. I'm only going to stick to a few that I think would be like the most fun, the ones that I personally would want to see. Obviously, none of this is confirmed, but you know, like a popular one that's been going around for ages because of the fact that you were dealing with Multiverse of Madness. This guy was originally the one sought at to play the title role, the head of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Tom Cruise as Iron Man. There's been fan art of this guy for ages now. So if we are going to get variants, I doubt Robert Downey Jr. would come back for this. It really seems like he wants to, say goodbye, leave his piece with this. Yeah. Tom Cruise as Iron Man. Here's the honest to God truth. I don't think he's in it. I don't believe he do it for some reason. I just feel like he wouldn't. However, I would love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong.
Maybe it'll be a Les Grossman moment where he really wants to do it.
Yes.
And that would be very gratifying.
I think it'd be a blast.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a blast. And another one with original casting that, when we're speaking of John Krasinski, his wife, Emily Blunt, who was originally sought to play Black Widow, maybe she could show up as Black Widow in this movie as well.
That could be cool.
The reason why I have a hard time believing this, because I know we're going to be doing a lot of multiverse hopping, but it's just like, are these cameos going to be substantial whatsoever if there are a gazillion cameos? Because I like
only a couple can be.
One of the things I loved about Spider-Man No Way Home was that they were actual supporting characters.
Yes, exactly.
Versus just fun cameos. That's why I'm like, it's hard to believe a lot of this, but a lot of this is just fun to speculate on.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm rooting for Terrence Howard to show up as Iron Man.
Yes, that would be very cool, actually.
It would be cool, and it would bury a long-standing hatchet. I mean, that would get people cheering, I think.
I mean, then bring back like Edward Norton.
Bring back Edward. And I feel like actually that could work better because I feel like there's a little bit more sort of latent love for that movie.
But wouldn't it ruin canonically the whole thing with the Incredible Hulk?
Because he is
because that movie is still considered. Yeah, exactly. They bring up Eric Bana.
Yes,
that would be neat.
There we go.
Him show up because he only got one movie.
Yeah,
and it wasn't the same situation as like all the things that Edward Norton has talked publicly about of having his disagreements with Marvel. It's just that moment Eric Bana didn't pan out well, but I thought he was good in it.
Yeah, they were still figuring out the genre at that point.
Yes, ever since the days of Spider-Man, we're always hearing rumors of Spider-Man popping up here.
All of them.
It would be cool if you think about it because of the fact that Doctor Strange was in a multiverse Spider-Man movie. It would reason to stand that one of the Spider-Man could possibly appear. It's like Tom Holland wouldn't be a surprise.
None at all.
I think Andrew Garfield is one that has been the most beloved and the most talked about since that movie.
They've done a reshoot probably already.
Yes. But if Spider-Man Spider-Man were to show up in here, my personal desire would be, because of the fact that our director is Sam Raimi, that it would be Tobey Maguire to show up in here.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if they could get Tobey to come back for this, that could be more satisfying for me in some ways more than Spider-Man No Way Home, because he's reunited with the director.
Oh, yeah. And what if he were to show up with the person who has the Doctor Strange name in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe?
Oh, yeah.
Another Strange variant, pay off that Easter egg from 20 years ago.
Ivan Raimi to go, that's Doctor Strange.
That's Doctor Strange, yeah.
That's pretty good. But it's taken.
So one thing that I saw from comicbook.com like ages ago, a rumor about like Loki, Sylvie, and Mobius showing up here, which I think would make a lot of sense because of the fact that, you know, the Loki series dealt with the multiverse, that ending of Loki, which showed that the multiverse was going into chaos. One of these movies would finally acknowledge the events of Loki.
Time.
Yeah. So I think them showing up will make a lot of sense. Another group that has been often speculated about finally appearing. This has been a group that I've been hearing about for years now at this point, wanting them to appear, and looking at Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness going down a darker path would be the Midnight Suns.
Bring out that horror.
As much as I've heard the Midnight Suns talked about for ages, introducing qualities of them in here would make a lot of sense because this is supernatural horror. It's like we've been hearing talks about, like I've been hearing about this guy forever, Ghost Rider, you know, the Nick Cage version, there's been the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. version, and now there's rumors about them looking for a new Ghost Rider. I actually think if they brought Ghost Rider in, I would love for them to keep Robbie Reyes from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because he was supposed to have his own Hulu show, and then that got canned. And I'm like, that poor son of a bitch. He
does such a good job. Let him have it.
Let him have it.
Yeah, at least let him get a fist pump moment in the movie, and that I think will make up for it for everybody.
That'd be my desire.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, as we heard, Mahershala Ali has been cast as Blade. He was in the post-credit scene for Eternals. So, you know, the one wish that fans have been having is for Blade to pop up in this movie. And if Blade did show up, I think it would line up really well. It'd be a cool way to tease him. Like, I've been thinking that Blade could show up in Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
And if Blade is like making these little appearances before he gets his official movie, that'd be a great way of reintroducing him.
Yeah. Plus, we could have Ryan Reynolds make a Blade 3 joke if Deadpool were to be in the movie, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect.
And then another character who's confirmed to be in the Marvels movie, Monica Rambeau, is another character that is based off of her power set. I could definitely see her popping up in here and
her
consider
experience with Wanda.
Yeah, especially being in WandaVision, you know, because the trailer does say I'm not here about Westview, but I'm having a feeling those Westview incidents are going to really factor in. Thinking about Monica Rambeau possibly popping up would make a lot of sense. And actually, this next one, I've been thinking that she would appear in here because of the fact that in the Doctor Strange trailers, you do see what looks like Shuma Gorath. Some people have been thinking that it could be Gargantos. The tentacle monster, H.P. Lovecraftian character. Yeah, whatever that character is, obviously was in the What If series. So in this trailer, we saw what I believe to be Strange Supreme. Some are arguing that it might not be him. I think it is. And that creature was first teased in the Captain Carter episode of What If. And after the events of What If, it would make a lot of sense for me to give a Captain Carter to appear in this film.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you know, we've seen Doctor Strange obviously recruiting other people's help throughout the trailer. And if they are going to actually start tying in the events of What If, I think that could actually be really cool. And it could help that episode kind of appreciate in value for people.
I think this is kind of just an obvious one. Obviously, it's not confirmed.
But of all the characters to possibly show up.
Yeah, like I haven't even really seen rumors about this, to be totally frank with you. It's just, I kind of just assumed because you hear their voices at the end of WandaVision, Tommy and Billy, Wiccan and Speed. Perhaps it might be a grown-up version. People have been wanting the Young Avengers to finally happen. We got Kate Bishop in the fold now, so Tommy and Billy being part of Young Avengers would make a lot of sense. So yeah, I think Tommy and Billy could be in here. But yeah, guys, this is like the main ones that really stood out to me. I'm telling you, the list goes like on and on and on, and these are the ones that we just wanted to highlight ourselves. But guys, who would you want most to appear in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Is there anyone that we didn't mention that you're like, no, it would be cool if they feature them, though? Put it down below in the comments. Thanks so much for being here, and hopefully we don't run into any issues with this one. We'll see you guys.